Hi guys, it's Nathan from Headbangers. Today we've got the Don of Donfest himself, Casey. This one we talk about everything you need to know to run your own festival, everything you need to know about promoting, as well as just anything about bands. This one was a really fun one to film, so we hope you like it. Yeah, and if you do like the podcast and you do want to support us, don't forget to check us out on social media. It's Headbangers Podcast everywhere except for Twitter. It's Headbangers Pod One. We do have a Patreon as well if you want to subscribe to that. If you're a YouTube listener, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're an audio listener, don't forget to leave us a rating. But without any further ado, here's the episode. Welcome back to the Headbangers Podcast. We're your hosts, Nathan and Brad. Here today we're joined by the Don of Donfest. It's Casey. How you doing, man, to start off with?
Everything's good. Thanks for having me on, guys. Absolute pleasure to be here. Looking forward to having a chat. Everything's absolutely grand. How about with you guys? Everything good?
Yeah,
Yeah,
everything's doing fine good on our side.
doing good, doing good. So I want to start off with a little icebreaker. Obviously, you've been running Donfest. What's like the biggest Donfest horror story you can say? Like, I imagine you've had plenty of injuries over the time of being there. So what's one thing that sticks out to you as like the pivotal moment?
Yeah, it's been a combination of a few, to be honest. I think like when we first started it in 2013, I did it with my friend Sam. Like he doesn't do it anymore, but it was me and my friend Sam who did it, and we'd kind of booked it all. It was like the first one that we'd done. I mean, I'd put on a few shows. It was like smaller scale at the time. It was kind of like, to be fair, a fun story. I put on Whilst You Sleeps in Wakefield for like 40 quid back in the day. This was like this was when I was like a college student. Yeah, it was mad. Good. But after that, yeah, it was the first proper big show that we'd done. We made an attempt, so we spent ages, making sure everything was perfect. We'd got like three bands from Europe, got it all done. We got there. Well, the day up to it, we had two bands pull out because there was mad snow, and I mean absolutely crazy. This was like March 2013. Hmm.
And the snow was like I lived in at the time I lived in Hyde Park, and it was in at Wharf Chambers, and I could barely get to my own gig. Like, I had to bear in mind the first one, like loads of people there waiting, and we'd got people coming from Europe, we'd got people coming from all over, traveling to either play or come see it. And yeah, it was absolutely hectic. So we had two pullouts, and then yeah, we had the weather, and I was like, shit, is everyone actually going to come? Is this going to be like the biggest flop? Like it sold well, like we was like, great, it's going to be great. And then it got to the day, and I just looked out my window, and I was like, fuck, like, absolutely in bits. Luckily, it ran absolutely sound. Somehow everyone managed to get there, like bands from all over Southampton and even bands from Europe somehow made it, but I could barely get there from Leeds. So that that was an eventful one. At them as well, I think at the earlier ones, it kind of, as you just mentioning with injuries and stuff, it were kind of it was quite violent and stuff, man. Like I look back at it now and kind of laugh, but there was like a sound guy there, and like people were moshing him out, and it was kind of a bit. I was just stood there like, fuck, like how is this going to look on me? Obviously, everyone there had a great time. The venue weren't too happy with it, but hey, it's kind of where it started and led us on to what we do. Yeah.
Oh yeah. On like the subject of injuries, roughly, how many broken bones do you think has happened like at Donfest? Like,
Like, I mean, it's hard to count. I mean, at Donfest itself, like, must be at least 10, 10, 10, I'd say. We put a show on at the Packhorse as well at one point, a band called Nasty from Germany. We put them on, and there was like three ambulances that got called to that. That was way back in the day. I think now people,
Like
it's
also
kind
never
of
been so mental.
honestly, yeah. That's for people obviously don't know. I know we're from Leeds, but this is like a 120 cap pub. It was well overfilled as well. Like kind of, they didn't really care. I didn't really care at the time. It was just get everyone in, and yeah, that was pretty mad. The Donfest, I think at the Leto one, I think like two or three people broke their arm.
Jesus
Um,
Christ.
yeah, I
yeah,
know.
I was at the Alito one, and honestly, I got twatted so many times. I'm not, I was there like it feels like because I used to do boxing when I was a kid, and I was just sat there, it's like fucking. I've never felt like this on edge since I was like since I was a kid sparring. I was like,
It is, man. It's kind of like, I think if you want to these places, you can stand aside from it, and you're
mm,
not necessarily just gonna. I think maybe 10 years ago it used to be everyone would just kind of get everyone, but I think if you like
at the back or on the stairs or at the side, like you're safe. You're not just going to come. I think that's a misconception that I think a lot of people think you're just going to walk through the door and get absolutely twatted. I kind of have to explain to some people it's not obviously like that, but if it wants to get rowdy and people are in that side of it, yeah, it kind of
Oh
it,
yeah,
it can
like
get a bit nuts at
yeah, it's
times.
just like you walk in the door. Here's your ticket. It's like-
Yeah.
yeah, no, I love a good moss person. That's why I just kept getting twitted. But I like a few of my mates who don't really go to like hardcore like beatdown shows are coming this year.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I'll mark out where to stand so I because I know where you won't get hit there.
Yeah,
So like just stand there, stand there, stand
it
there.
is. I think there's always a safe spot. Like, a few people always come up to me on the door like, "Oh, where can I stand if I don't want to get hit?" I'm like, "Okay, there's the bit the entrance is the stairs and then stage." I think we have luckily got them safe spots and stuff. And I mean, even though it's like that, I think everyone does respect the limits and stuff. I mean, people will mosh hard, but you're not going to get. I know you sometimes might see these videos in America where people are just hitting someone over 15 times in the face. It's not going to be like that. I think the majority of people are friends, and if they're not, they kind of become it there. So I think it's kind of even when it gets a bit like that, it'll just be a handshake, a fist bump, or go have a drink. It's kind of I kind of try to say that to some people. So I've got a lot of friends who are into like just kind of metal or just like punk kind of in the like not who've never really experienced the full thing of it. So like when they see the videos, they can get a bit, oh shit, am I going to walk in and get that? But you kind of explain that it's not
Yeah.
necessarily just that aspect of it.
Oh yeah, I think there's such a common misconception with it because out of all the times I've said most of the time 9 times out of 10 the people that they're hitting are their
Mhm.
best mate or like they're
Literally,
just mates of mates like
yeah,
so it's like they won't just go up to a stranger and just wallop them. It's like no, I'll do that to him because I know he can take the joke and stuff like that.
yeah,
You won't if you go to like a hardcore beatdown show, it's not necessarily you're gonna just get battered.
no.
It's just more of the time it is just mates on mates.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's the thing, as you say, like that's the thing that I think a lot of people don't see it that way, but it is, and I think like the good thing that I really like about it, and it's kind of what's kept me doing it, is how much there's a lot like the majority of any different genre show you go to, you always kind of see stuff kicking off or whatever. But I think like there's just never no trouble. There's never no actual fights or people beefing or gripping each other. It's kind of just like everyone's just there to have a good time, just to
Mm.
go see the music if they want, to go hang out if they want, to go get drunk if they want, whatever.
Yeah, just
I think it,
unwind a bit,
yeah, and I think that's what's important. I think if it didn't get like that, and there was a lot of kind of ego or like a lot of clickiness about it, I wouldn't do it anymore. I just think it wouldn't be. I don't like it when things kind of go that way.
No,
Definitely.
absolutely. So on the like the topic of misconceptions, then, like, what do you think are some common misconceptions about running a festival, and like, what are some things that you wish you knew when you first started? Starting your own
Yeah,
festival, basically.
I mean, a lot of the times I think you've got to understand that you've got to put a lot of effort in. I think a lot of people think you can just send a couple of messages on Instagram and that's it. You booked up, you sorted. And I think like a big misconception is people seem to just think you're going to be you put a gig on and you're going to be walking away with 10 grand or something like that. It's obviously it's not how it works. You've got to kind of build it up. You put a lot of money in. You've got it's hard because I mean, with some bands like I guess the local bands and stuff, you can just kind of speak with them, tell them who's playing, you want to get them on, etc. But with some bands, like if you go through the Americans or some of the big European ones, you've got to go through agents and stuff.
Especially like now
Um,
as well, with everything that's like changed, like must be even harder.
yeah, yeah, most definitely. I mean, it was kind of when I did put the Leto one on the first one back, I was shitting myself. I was kind of I didn't know what to expect because it had been a while. And I was kind of like, will these agents still want to speak to me because I've been out of the game a bit? And you kind of build up the bond and trust with them in the past from putting the stuff on. But I saw it as I'd had quite a few years out of it. So I think the thought of it, I mean, it's hard because it depends kind of how big you want to go or how you want to do it really, because it can be as simple or as complicated as you want to make it. But I think obviously the more risks you take, the more complicated it's going to be. But then that's where maybe the growth comes from. So it's I don't know. I think my kind of like some people who've started like putting on gigs and stuff like and they speak to me and ask me about it, and I'm just honest and I say, look, don't go where you can't. Don't just go well overboard if you know you can't realistically do it. Like say for example, you can't like there's huge festivals in the UK at the moment and hardcore and stuff like Outbreak, etc. Absolutely smashing it. These guys
you know, they get thousands and thousands of people. So they're going to have kind of a very, their budget compared to mine is going to be so far at the other side, you know what I mean? It's kind of, and I think the same with people who are just starting to do things. You can't just say, all right, I'm going to book some bands for 20 grand. I have no idea what I'm doing, no idea um, what's going on. So I think you've got to kind of take it as it comes, really, and put it on and hope, you know, see how it goes and make sure you've just kind of got the money there as a backup in case of a worst case scenario. I think that's important when, I mean, I've seen it happen over the years with people who've, you know, I've seen it online that have lost like thousands on a show, they don't know what to do, etc. I mean, it, you shouldn't really be doing that if you don't have the money there as a backup because you're going to damage your own reputation, kind of the city, the band, you're letting the bands down, etc. So I think it's kind of, you've got to be, I just say you've kind of got to be very level-headed and know where you're at with it and kind of take the baby steps rather than just jumping straight in and thinking that you're going to have like a download festival or something like that. It's kind of, you got to know where it's at.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Because like that's one thing that we found even just doing this. Like when we did merch, like we lost like not like a lot of money on it, but like a decent amount. But like to be honest, we didn't really plan it out that as well as we should have.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, in hindsight, I wish we had done that differently. I think could have got a few more sales of that. Like you know, I think putting on like shows and stuff like that. I think it's so many people get wrapped up in I just want it to happen. And then but they don't actually think, well, hang on, well, what is the worst case scenario?
Yeah.
And then they'll just be like, oh, but I'll make money. I'll make money. Because I hear it all the time. It's like I've got like mates that want to start putting on shows and they're like, it's gonna make money, mate. It's gonna make money. And you sat there, you're like,
I'll start off small with like Malevolence or something, you know.
Yeah, just a classic. That's the thing. I think when we put like the first one on in 2013, we got a few bands over from Europe, like loads of at the time quite up and coming like UK bands were a thing. I think we probably made about 150 quid, and I think like people, it was busy, it was a good show, but obviously we paid a lot out. We paid the venue, the bands, like the riders, etc. Like people seem to forget about this thing. They think, oh, I can just put on a show and I'm going to make a mint, but it's not. It's not how it works. If it did, people were putting on 50 shows a year each. You know, it's not like that. So it's kind of got to know where you're coming from with it and start small and build up. Really.
I think it's got to do with like the right reasons as well. Like, you know, I imagine a lot of people start because they want to become rich from it. And like, I don't think that's the right way to go about it. Like you do it because you've got a passion for the bands and to, you know, putting on a great show for everyone. I guess like, you know, you can tell which festivals make it and what don't based behind the motives.
No, of course, and I think you can see the difference. Like when you go to a festival or even just a gig, and you can see that someone's got like a very like a hunger for it or a passion. You can see that even in like the promoter or how it runs or how they approach you when if they're on the door or something. Whereas you can see sometimes when people can't be asked or just you know they don't look interested. And I think why would you not do it if you're not interested or got a passion for it? Because that's kind of when I did stop it for a bit, I did lose a bit of interest and a bit of passion in it. I kind of just for a few years I did, and I stopped doing it because I promised myself that if I wasn't enjoying it, I'm not going to do it just to please everybody else. I want to enjoy it myself. It's kind of something. It's an underground music scene, right? So it's not. It's kind of the way that you want to enjoy it. You want other people to, and if it's losing that part of it, then what's the point? That's my perspective on it.
I respect that.
Yeah. I think you can tell the difference between someone that does genuinely love it and someone that's just like I just kind of want to make money off this. Like I've seen people that's like they'll be like, oh, I lost this amount on this show. But it was a fucking great show though, wasn't it? And it's like it's just that's the attitude that like a lot of people I feel like should have when it comes to that. It's like you've got to be like, yeah, I mean I lost money, but everyone had a great time. I had a great time. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the best way to look at it, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the way it should be because that's going to happen, especially these people who are putting on quite regular gigs all the time. You know, some shows might be sell out in seconds, you do good. Some shows there might be 40, 50 people there for a touring band. Unfortunately, it happens all across the country, all across the world, really. But you know, you still look at it and you could be at that show with 50 people there and be like, fucking hell, that were even better than one with 300 people there. You know, you can see, you know, there might be some footage of it, or you just walk in the room and see everyone vibing and loving it, and it's kind of what makes you want to carry on doing it, really. Yeah.
Oh yeah. One thing I want to ask you as well is like, how do you normally go about like picking the bands to put on? Like, what's the criteria for you? Is it just people that you genuinely like fans of, or is it also like a part of like, are these guys, popping off as well? Like, like putting them on there as well?
So I'll be honest, like with me, and this is like when me and Sam did start it, the kind of the reason we did was because I didn't feel that there was anything at the time that was particularly like that had a bit of everything that I genuinely like.
Mm.
So it might be, I feel there was a lot of things where people would just be picking the cool bands or stuff like that, whereas I kind of always like the European bands we brought over. Like at the previous ones, like nobody had heard of them. It was relatively underground. I found them, liked them, got them over, and did that. So I always make sure that if I'm going to book a band, that I actually like the band. That's just something that I've always gone by because I think, well, I'm doing it. I want to go enjoy it, and I do. That's the thing. I go there. I don't just stand there sitting in a back room or anything. I'm there like enjoying it probably more than anyone. Like that's the thing. I go. I have a great time. I get on well with the bands who are put on. I try get on with the venue, everyone there. I think it's just something like I don't know. I've always thought you should book. I always wanted to do it as something different because it was when it still kind of is. It's like a mixture of hardcore, beatdown, and metal. And I always
Mm.
wanted it to be that. Whereas I thought before there was a bit of a divide, and it was like people were either just booking hardcore shows or just beatdown shows or just metal, and there wasn't ever really that mix. I mean, there was on like a bigger scale of like when Ghostfest was running back in the day and stuff. They absolutely smashed it. But kind of in terms of a small one, I just wanted to do something different and give these bands a shot who no one had heard of, like bringing bands up from London or Europe or whatever. Because I feel like too many people maybe were just playing it safe, just either booking a band and just booking the popular bands or just getting the same three local bands who've played maybe 10 shows in a row at the same venue. I kind of want to do something a bit different. So yeah, I always make sure that it's someone who I like. So genuinely, every band that's been on them, it's someone who I dig.
I imagine as
Oh
well,
yeah.
like, you probably ahead a step of the curve there because, now you get like, hardcore bands and metal bands touring quite a lot and there's like, more festivals popping up like that.
Hmm.
Um, but, it's good that you just said, oh, fuck it, I like all these genres. I just want them all to be at my festival. And then
Yeah.
now, obviously, I imagine like everyone's on the same page. Like, oh, I've really wanted like a festival like that. And
Hmm.
you're pleasing yourself, but you're also pleasing the fans too.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think it's good. It's now good as well, the mixture of people that it brings in as well. I think I like that a lot of people will make new friends and like maybe they'll listen to these. There might be people who come and they know three bands before. They can come and then they'll buy some merch from a band who they've just randomly seen on the day. They had no idea who they were. They really like that band now. Maybe they get into the new, maybe they start to like hardcore a bit more or metal a bit more. I kind of like that. I like that about it, that it's kind of there's no set little clique just hiding in a corner or anything. It just doesn't feel. I've say it feels very welcoming in terms of the music wise, but and for the people who are coming as well.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, like, I think there's too much obsession with like boundaries in
Hmm.
terms of music for like promoters, especially right in the UK. I think
Yeah.
we're a bit. I think a lot of promoters are a bit behind on it because it's like, well, no, like, who says you can't put them together? Like, who says you can't put a hardcore band and a metal band in the same venue and the
Hmm.
same show? So I like how that's what your approach is. Is like, oh, if I like them, no matter what genre they are, I'm putting them on.
Yeah. I think it's a good thing to have, and I think it for the bands as well. I think they appreciate it. Like the first one we had Ingested play, which obviously that was something quite different for them. They were kind of used to playing like the slam metal shows. We kind of had we had a Crania play the second one, and they was like we've never seen anything like that. Like
Oh, great band.
yeah, awesome band. I absolutely shout out to Crania fully. They came and there was like they didn't really know what to expect. I remember speaking to like Luke before, he was a bit, oh, are people gonna vibe it? We're a bit different. And I was like, just go, just go, and it went fucking mental, like absolutely. And then I feel like since that they got a lot more opportunities on mixed shows as well. So I think it's good. Like they loved it and they were like saying, yeah, it's um something wow, this crowds we've had and stuff like that. And I think that's good for because that's why I put them on. I wanted to put them on and do something a bit different and do that. And I think the fact that the crowd liked it, I liked it, and they liked it, it's kind of cool. And like there was like Harbinger who played the last one, Postmortem Promises as well coming, like something a bit kind of a bit different that because I feel like people do just think, oh, he's just running a beatdown fest, but it couldn't be anything further from it really. There is obviously some beatdown bands on, and that you kind of do get that aspect to the crowd sometimes, but
it's not. If you look at every lineup, there's always a mix of everything, like annotations of an autopsy, the Leto one, etc. It's just kind of, I like to kind of push it as far as I can without going too much to one extreme. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that annotations of an autopsy was a proper like head turner for me. Because
Mhm.
like I remember I heard him start playing. I was like, "Who's this?" I was just fucking ran in, and I wasn't expecting to hear him play it, but I was there
Mhm.
like, "These guys are fucking sick."
Yeah, man.
And that I think that's what's great about it. Like obviously you're giving them the opportunity to play with, like to a set of people that wouldn't normally have the chance, and those people dug it, and
Mhm.
now like they'll have more opportunities from that.
Yeah, and it does.
'Cause-
You see it happen, man. That's the thing as well. You see, like it really does happen that they get the opportunity, and you kind of think sounds a little bit generic saying it, but it does. You can see it, and it's just it's cool that they're doing that. And I think now a few more people are kind of starting to do the mixed thing, and I love it. I'm so glad that like a lot of new promoters are coming out and doing similar things. I think there's like the Dojo Fest in Nottingham, there's like Falling the Ball in Manchester. There's quite a few different ones that are mixing like the whole aspect of it really, rather than just sticking to one and playing it safe. So
Yeah, definitely. I
oh,
think like the culture of extreme music will only prosper from it. Like,
mhm,
the more kind of band together and put more festivals like this on,
yeah,
like I think it'll do some real good.
mhm, absolutely.
Who'd be your
yeah.
dream band to get on then, if you could choose anyone?
Man, it's kind of hard. I get asked this question. Like, I'd say, and this is, funnily enough, just the conversation we've had about a different aspect. I'd love to get Dying Fetus on. I think because I'd
Oh
love.
yeah.
I went to
Oh
go
yeah.
see
Amazing.
them with Nasty, just gone. It was in Manchester, and it was so. Like, yeah, again, the probably the biggest band in European beatdown, and the biggest band in kind of like slam, death metal, whatever you want to define Dying Fetus as. And it was such a mixed crowd, and it was kind of for Nasty and stuff. Everyone was going mental, but like a lot of kind of like the Dying Fetus crowd was like vibing it. But then Dying Fetus came on, and like their set was 11 out of 10, absolutely flawless, like not a note wrong, amazing. But the crowd, I just thought it was just kind of stood still, which if that's what they do for that genre, okay. But I said to like some friends, I was like, just imagine Dying Fetus at Donfest. Imagine them playing because it's like some of the heaviest music you can hear. But I don't think it gets that reaction. So just imagine the whole room going fucking nuts to something like that. I think they'd be shocked to see it as well. I think it'd just be a. So that's the one. If ever they're listening, I know they're probably not. But if we've got Dying Fetus in there, come on, may want to do it.
No,
Um,
absolutely.
Oh mate.
It sounds like they would be the perfect fit as well because they are sort of the love child between all the genres, aren't they? Like everyone loves a bit of Dying Fetus. I think it'd go down a treat, to be honest.
yeah, it'd be good. I mean, it'd be hard because obviously they tend to play a lot of the bigger festivals and stuff. And like when that happens, like if a band are playing like a bigger festival, I don't know, like you download something like that. A lot of the time they tend to just get them as like an exclusive show, which it's something that I'm looking to be doing, and I've started doing a lot more with bands. But kind of when you get to the bigger stage of like the big bands, it's kind of they tend to have that a lot, so it can be hard to kind of get them in. But that's the plan. That it's going to happen at some point. That's not me being.
Oh yeah.
That's just me. That's my optimism there. Really, I lost my words, but yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's.
Oh yeah. I'd love to see the scenes from it though, because
Oh
like
yeah.
Dying Fetus songs are just 4 or 5 minutes of just mosh breakdowns. You know what I mean? Like it is just that. Like you could mosh for one of their entire songs.
Mhm.
Like, but so like to see that at Donfest, it would be fucking nuts to see the crowd.
It would
Like,
because, as you say, it's the mixture of everything. They've kind of got the death metal, the slam, but then they kind of have like the two steps from like hardcore like vibes and stuff as well as kind of like super heavy beatdowns of vocals. Just like the fact there's three of them. Like, you see them live, it sounds like there's 10 of them, and you're like, how
oh
how
yeah,
are these guys just doing that? And they've been doing it, I don't know, 25 years, maybe more now. It's just absolutely mental.
oh yeah. I saw him in Manchester like a few years back,
Mhm.
and I'm honestly, I don't think I've ever seen like a band like literally like blow me away in the
Yeah.
way like they did. Because I fucking love death metal.
Mhm.
And like out of all the bands that they're still like up there, is like this is like probably the best death metal band I've seen.
Yeah.
Like genuinely.
Hmm. It was kind of like I got it though at the same time because I was kind of like I was stood there and I was like, God, I'd love to mosh and lose my shit to this and see everyone doing it. I was kind of just in awe. I went from like going in the pit at Nasty to just like standing at the back. And I was just there and like every song, it was just like you can't. I was like, oh, I didn't really know what set list they were going to play. I didn't check it before. I was like, is it going to be loads of the old stuff, loads of the new? Is it a mix? And it just kept getting better and better. And I was just stood there. I was like,
I came out of the gig and I was with Sam, the guy who did put on Donfest with me before, was together and was like, we're just speechless. We're just like, we must have said about 10 times, fucking hell. Just couldn't say anything. It was just like, that was out of this world. But yeah, so tight, man. Like, unreal band.
That'd be
Oh
awesome.
yeah. My mate had that with Ingested as well. Saw him at the Sophie tent in at Bloodstock like 2017 or 2018 or something.
Yeah.
I remember him coming back and he was like, listen to Ingested like right now. And I saw him like in New York, and it's just one of those things like they're one of those bands as well that they just get progressively like heavier. You think,
Better and better. Yeah.
there's no way they're gonna come back with like another breakdown like as hard as that. And it's like they'll come back 2 seconds later going, oh yeah, you thought it was fucking over. And you're like, fucking what fucking geniuses.
literally, yeah, awesome band Ingested, man. Got loads of time for them.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
agreed.
definitely. One thing as well I wanted to ask you, because I know you do post on like the Donfest story a lot about like people constantly asking about like guest lists or freebies. Right?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, what's the
Come on,
dumbest
freebie.
reason? No, but what's the dumbest like reasoning someone's given you? And also, how much does it actually piss you off like seeing that?
So in terms of pissing me off, absolutely not at all. I think it's just me having a bit of a vibe that bit. I like if ever I do get the message, I look at it and I just laugh. And it's either like I don't reply or they just get a simple no. Then if I say something back that was just joking, I'll just have a bit of banter. I won't say it being a dick. But I mean, it's kind of some of the reasons that I've had, my rent came out, or I've had these bank charges, or I lost my bank card. And literally any reason that could have happened, or one of the bands told me I had guest list. It turns out I didn't. Can you let me in? I'm like, what? How the fuck does that work? I'm like, the thing is, I understand it. Sometimes, if you're putting on a huge thing and you've got people from America who are bringing people with them and stuff, okay, if you've got a driver or a merch guy, etc., you've got to do that. That's kind of you're not gonna say that, but it's kind of like when somebody. The thing is, because at the moment, a lot of the stuff about the guest list is because I've got quite a strict venue capacity at both, so. Day one's at Eiger and day two at Boom, and I've been told like, you can't really go over it. So it's kind of like, imagine you get 50 people asking you for guest list, and you say, yeah, okay, that's 50 people who can't come to the gig for it, and it's kind of a thing. The only bit that slightly pisses me off is like when people will ask for it, and maybe they'll say the money bit, and like if it's someone my friends for like 15 years, I'm like, can you save me a ticket till mate day? We'll sort it out. Okay, don't worry, I've got you. Just give me it. No, then that's fine. But some people say, "Oh, I'm really on my ass. I can't do it." But you see them like online going out like 4 or 5 times a week, or
Yeah, it's hypocritical,
smoking
that.
weed every day and stuff. And I'm like, look, like this. If I just let everyone in, I'd be losing an absolute shit ton of money. It'd be like it doesn't make sense. It's kind of like you wouldn't go up to your friend who were doing tattoos or who worked in a bar or just anything. You wouldn't just go, right, okay, give me a free tattoo. Oh yeah, I want 2 free double vodka Red Bulls. If someone went to be just like, fuck off, wouldn't you? You can't really do it. But it's just kind of, it's just laughable, really. I think putting them posts has kind of stopped people asking for it. There, you get the odd one who might do it in jest or maybe being serious. I don't know, but before, like the amount of people who you do get asking, it's mind blowing. Like you wouldn't believe it. Or the one you can get is someone you maybe haven't spoken to them 7, 8 years. All right, bro. Yeah, we haven't spoken in a while. Can I get guest list? Like, fucking hell. Yeah, I'm doing great as well. Yeah, it's like we used to have all these times together and that, but no,
I feel like when you do certain things, like, I mean, obviously I don't on a festival, but I do like photography and video in my spare time as like a side business kind of thing. And then like you get some people that just like want like a massive discount on it, or just like, expect it to be really cheap. I'm like you said, like if this was like another profession, like I don't know, like a joiner or like electrician or something, like you wouldn't ask for a fucking like 50% off, like.
yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
it just means that you're not taking what someone does seriously. It's like, obviously you're a festival, like it needs to go ahead every year, like but you can't just give everyone a ticket for free.
Yeah, no, of course, and I think that's kind of you look at it as well. And it's like if it's like a friend or an acquaintance, because I think, as you said, like with the kind of the joiner example, if my friend was a joiner and I needed something doing, and he came to do it, I'd give him the normal amount he charges, and then maybe even a bit more because it's your friend. You support your friends in this kind of shit, don't you?
Exactly.
Like if my friend's running a company of any form and they're doing something or selling something, I'm not just going to ask for 50% off because I'm the friend. Like it's not helping them, and it's just making me a dick. Really, it's kind of
Yeah.
I don't agree with it really, but
Oh yeah, I mean, on the point like when you see people going out, that's like my honest biggest pet peeve out because mates, I'm like, look, if you ever need to lend money, just drop me a message. If I've got it,
Mhm.
I'll give you it.
Yeah.
But I stopped lending like so many mates money when I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll chuck him a tenner
Mhm.
or something like that, and you'd see him out, you'd be like, what the fuck?
Hang on a
Like,
minute.
do you know what I mean? You'd be like, hang
Yeah.
on a fucking minute. Like, I gave you that money to like help you, and you just fucking gone out and like wasted it. But so like, I imagine when you see people going, yo, can I get a guest here? And then just go, and then you see like 20 minutes later on their Instagram story, it's like, I've just got a 10 bag. It's like, wait a fucking minute, mate. Wait a fucking minute.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you do see it. That's the thing. You see it, or it can be, someone might be like, "Oh, I've had some stuff come out this payday. Can you hold it till next one?" Absolutely fine, no problem. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'll sort it out. I'll hold that ticket, no problem. I'm broke. I'm on my ass. Can barely afford bus fare. Then, as you say, yeah, be out two nights in a row. You'll see them going out or doing something, or as you say, smoking a shitload of weed on Instagram. You're like, how does this work? Like, where if people have got this money tree, I fucking need it. I swear down.
No, absolutely, man. So obviously we've talked about Donfest. What do you do in your spare time, and what are your hobbies and interests outside of the festival?
So in terms of it, I mean, I love going to gigs and stuff anyway. Like I try to go to as many gigs, like different genres as well. I think, I, like I love just all forms of music. I studied it in college. I did like the technology side of it, and I've just always liked all genres. So I've been going to like quite a fair few gigs. It's such a huge variety of mixed stuff. Um, what else do I kind of? I mean, I've it's been pretty low at the moment. I think kind of in terms of like what I've actually been doing aside from like seeing friends, family, um, gigs and stuff. It's kind of been normally. I mean, I like to travel a lot as well. Traveling's always been a good passion of mine. I lived in Portugal for 2 years. That was pretty
Oh,
cool.
nice.
Um, did go to a couple of shows out there, which was it was yeah an experience. It was very different, but
How did
very
the crowd
welcoming.
differ from the UK?
It's pretty different. It depended on kind of what genre you went to. So the first one I went to, I'd been there for about 10 days. And Knuckle Dust were playing with Slapshot. And it was actually on my birthday. Like as I say, I just got there. It's on my birthday and I went and it was so welcoming. I knew the guys from Knuckle Dust, I had a chat with them. I knew them beforehand. And like like the scene there and everyone was so welcoming. They saw me maybe speaking with them and people just come and approach. Obviously knew I wasn't from there. It was just so friendly, and I think it was more. I'd say it was a bit more of the punky hardcore side of it in
Mhm.
Lisbon, but it was still very great. I mean, I remembered. I kind of went and I can't remember who played. Somebody played before Knuckle Dust, who was quite big as well, and then there was Slapshot. I remember Knuckle Dust played, and I started kind of like moshing. I had a few drinks, etc. I started moshing, and I clocked some guy not like beat down moshing, just like hardcore moshing really. And I clocked some guy in the face, and he was fucking an absolute gripper. He must have been 6'5", 6'6", like built like a shit house. And he just looked at me and I was like, oh my God. I was like, I've just, totally unintentional. I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry, really sorry. He's like, oh, no problem, no problem. Gave me a hug, like bought me a drink after. And it was just kind of, it was very
That's cool.
welcoming. Yeah, it was very, it didn't seem clicky at all. It felt very, and I noticed that there too. It was like, there was like a lot of like your people who'd go like say in the UK would go like download Bloodstock, like your leather jacket, etc. Patches, but then there was like the punky kids and then the hardcore ones, and it was just such a mixed crowd, and everyone was just all together, all hanging outside the venue, all showing respect, no trouble, no divide. Again, that was pretty cool. And then I saw Madball at some tattoo festival as well. That was really good. It was at quite a big venue, so it was kind of a lot. It wasn't as intimate, but it was still kind of that band smashed it. They've done it for God knows how many years as well. But yeah, that was really cool out there. Yeah, just such. I think you go wherever you seem to go. I've noticed that it tends to be very different. Like I went to Belgium in September for a show. It was like a lot of cool bands playing and stuff, and it was so yet again so welcoming, so friendly. Everyone just vibing, no trouble. I mean, I knew a few of the bands out there anyway, like Surge of Fury. I put them on Donfest a couple of times. Like they kind of picked us up from the airport. We stayed with them guys, etc. Out for some food, went to the practice, then went to the festival with them, and then the guys from Vicious, well, Dylan from Vicious, he actually was part of like one of the promoters putting on the show. So like they was like very welcoming, and then we'd seen like old friends like Nasty and stuff, and it was just there was like Bundam out from London playing, so it's kind of just everyone was just all in there, and I think one of the scariest things I think a lot of people have is that they worry too much of how it's going to be or how people will conceive them, etc. But I think you just go, honestly, you just go and you'll just have such a great time. And I'd say that wherever I've been abroad for a show, really, it's just always been nothing but vibes and very welcoming.
Oh yeah,
That's cool.
I tried finding a few shows when I was in Budapest, but I just could not find any.
Yeah,
Because
what's going on, was there?
Yeah, as soon as we touched down, I was there like, I wonder if there's any like shows we could go to. And like I was trying to find anything, but I just could not find it. I've always wanted to do like shows in like a show in Germany or something like that, like just to see how different it is from us.
Yeah, me too. I think I've been speaking about that for a while to go to Germany. It's been the top. It's been probably the place for the show that probably by the States that I'd really, really want to go just to see how it is, because I know I've seen like videos of their hardcore crowd going absolutely nuts. Then the beatdown guys, like you think like Donfest is like violent and stuff, like these Germans, and you see them honestly, and the beatdown shows are all absolute units kicking the shit out of each other. But same thing again, just they're all mates. They're all like, it's not, they're not going to be fighting outside after it or anything. It's just kind of all, it's very good. Very, all respect, all that. But you look at it and you're like, oh, these guys, they know how to go. It's kind of, yeah.
I saw a clip come out of Germany, like a beatdown festival, and like this guy got kicked in the face and was knocked out. And this guy just dragged him along the floor and just threw him into another guy. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, can you imagine being like getting knocked unconscious and just waking up at the other end of the fucking venue? Right, what the fuck happened to me?
I had a story. To be fair, one story. It's a pretty funny one. It was Ghostfest like 2011 or something. I feel like it was maybe Comeback Kid playing. I kind of like gone moshing. It was Ram there. It was at the uni in Leeds, and it was kind of. I went crowd surfing, and like there was like three security guys about to like get me, and they just dropped me. So, like I literally like went to grab onto them, and they dropped me, and then like the bottom, it was like a big metal pole.
Oh
And
God.
I'd honestly, I got knocked straight out. I didn't feel shit. Like kind of just woke up. Like, oh, the band is still playing. I'm like getting held up. I've got blood pissing down me. I mean, I had like a white t-shirt on. There's a picture somewhere. It's just covered in blood. And I was like, shit, what's just happened? Like, yeah, yeah. And I kind of saw the band playing, and it all just came straight back. I was like, oh yeah, cool. Like, right, you need to go straight to hospital. You need to go straight in. I'm like, okay. And they're like, just go to this like tent first. It was like a first aid thing. And, like, kind of tried to clean it up, put a bandage, like, go straight to hospital again. I was like, nah, I want to have a drink, I want to stay. I'm like, okay. I was there like fucked in it. I'd got this like, we put, like the bandages, sometimes you see like the footballers wearing them and stuff.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
kind of bandage your whole head. And it just was covered in blood within like a minute or so. And I remember the Black Dahlia Murder were playing after, and I really wanted to see them. So I'd kind of gone, and I was just stood there. I must look like a possessed guy or something. I was just stood there in the crowd, like at the back, just headbanging, still with a beer. I don't know why I decided to carry on drinking. Don't recommend it, but I just still stood there, just headbanging. Like people, I could just see people looking at me, and you can feel the glare. I could see that, and I'm just like, yeah, a t-shirt covered in blood, a bandage covered in blood, just headbanging, and that was, yeah, some gig injuries.
Yeah, our mate Caleb's like the worst one for that. Like we've mentioned it on our like podcast. He's broke his back. He's fucking split his eye open, like shit like that. He's just done the craziest shit. Because when he's only, I have a theory because he's a small bloke. I reckon he's just got the same amount of energy that's in like a 7-foot guy, but it's all just like it contained in this like little tiny person. So when he gets proper amped up, he gets fucking amped. So he just does wild shit.
I mean, I used to be that guy. I had like the amount of injuries I've got from gigs as well, man. Like cracked my head open, split. Like I kind of re-broke my arm again, bust my nose, and I had like 3 back surgeries, probably from gigs. I don't know what caused it, but and then I kind of think I was like, yeah, I'll calm it down a little bit, and then I think I've noticed like a few shows I've been like, yeah, I'm just gonna stand at the side, vibe. Then it'll get maybe halfway through the day or halfway through the gig, I'll had a few beers and I'm like straight in there and I'm like, fuck, what am I doing? Like, I'm like, it's going to end up in me in an ambulance at my own gig here. I'm like, fuck.
To be fair, I've never had like any like serious like injury, moshing or all like that at gigs. Like I've had more just like embarrassing moments. Like I'll just do something and I'll just be like, why did I do that? I was like, in reality, I was like, I just wasn't thinking that one through. Because I remember, I was like, Malevolence played Boom, and like I thought, I remember looking at the stage, going, I reckon I could get on there and like clear it and get on, like, get a good crowd surf going.
Yeah.
And didn't go out well. I literally like got up, jumped, and I must have just not fucking barely even jumped. Because all I remember is just diving head first into this bloke, like who was like the shortest guy there, and just flattening him. And I was there, like, I remember just getting up, like, really sorry about that, mate.
He's just like on the floor.
Yeah, no, I remember he was just laid down. He went like this cheetah print fucking like, like fucking coat, and he goes, "Yeah, don't worry about it, don't worry." And it's just like I had to like walk off,
Pretend it never happened, and out at smoking area for a second.
Yeah, it was like, I'm just gonna go out for some fresh air, boys.
It's a good show though, that wasn't it? The Levitt Boom.
Oh mate,
it's
unbelievable, unbelievable.
The cut every time.
Yeah, I think it's so good. Like I've been speaking with a lot of friends about this. Like we used to go see and like used to go see them all the time play in front of like 40, 50 people, and they played like a lot of the earlier Donfest shows and stuff. And I think just to see their eyes, it's so good, man. Like it just like it's so hard working, so tight. It's like there's not. I can't think of a band in the UK that deserves it more. I just think every
So
time.
talented.
Oh yeah, like I've been like I remember like I got into them when I started doing like band stuff. So like the guitarist who I still work with now, George, he like proper rated my lev. And at the time I was only like really into like metal and that. Like it was just before I got into like hardcore. And he goes, right, oh, listen to Malevolence. I remember listening to like, I think it was it's just when Self Supremacy had come out.
Yeah.
And like I must have spun that album like 5 times in a row. Like I'm not even kidding. I was like, this is the hardest shit. And then like getting to see him and then seeing where they've got to. It's fucking crazy. Because like I remember like first time I saw him would be in like this tiny fucking venue. And now I'm like seeing them on tour with Trivium and Obituary and shit.
Absolutely mental, isn't it? Like just doing the arenas with Architects and doing the States and stuff with Trivium as well lined up. It's kind of like I remember seeing them in places like playing in like Sheffield and Rotherham or Leeds, like we put them on or like play with them and stuff. There'd be like 30, 40 people there, and you're like, but you instantly knew, like out of the local bands, that they had that that's something that was going to go, and if they did it right, which they absolutely have, like and it's just unreal, as you say. Like you see them now on, Slam Dunk, Download, all these huge festivals worldwide. It's just
and got the crowds
sick.
by the little finger as well. Like they just know how to work the crowd. Like they've just got such headline energy. Like every time I've seen them, it's been just a phenomenal experience. And every song that they release is just like next level, just ahead of step with the curve of everyone. And I don't know what they put in their drinks, but fucking hell,
some of that. Yeah, I think it's mad as well though, because you think. I saw them. One of my friends, he had a spare ticket when they played with Architects. So it was like the arena, and I was like, shit. Like, honestly, I've probably seen Malev about 50 times. Like, not exaggerating, kind of like that much. And there's just always been that band we've kind of seen so much of and been sound with and stuff. And I remember seeing them at arena, and I walked in because they was opening, and then it was Sleep Token, and Architects, and I was like,
share that.
Unreal, man. I think every band smashed it, and I went, and I was like. I walked in and I was like, how the fuck's this going to be from 11? Because I saw them at Slam Dunk recently, and a couple of other big shows that they've done and stuff. I've seen it, and I know it's massive. Everyone goes off, but I'd say probably the crowd for them was maybe like more into it than it was for Sleep Token and Architects, and I found that mad.
I agree. Yeah.
Everyone just lost the shit.
Oh yeah. What's great about it as well is because seeing where they've come from. It's like, oh, those are our boys up there. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like I was like saying to him, it's a different feeling to like when like the fact that Turnstile's fucking massive now. Because like Turnstile, sometimes I think we should have gatekeeped them a little bit harder. But like with Malev, I'm there like, oh no, these are our guys. They're smashing it and they fall and deserve it. I think it's because like obviously Turnstile's an American band and like
from Yorkshire, innit?
Yeah, and it's like I didn't really get a chance to see them when they were doing small shows. Whereas Malev, I did, and I was there like I've seen where they've come from. I've seen like how much work they actually did put into it over the years. Like like going from like selling grinders and shit like that, like, and just being like doing like local band stuff, and then now all of a sudden seeing them as like this ultra professional band that are just hitting it and hitting it and hitting it.
Yeah, and it's like you kind of look at it, don't you? You're like, where is the limit for them? It's kind of like you look and you think, well, I think they've been like headlining like these second stages at like I don't know, it's like they've got a headline in a big stage at Slam Dunk this year. I think they've
I'm sure they did Bloodstock. Was that last year or something?
Yeah,
Yeah, they did.
I think it was like
Yeah.
2021. Yeah,
Mhm.
2021. Great show.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just look at them now, though, don't you? And you can honestly see them as being like the English like Lamb of God or something, can't you? You can honestly see them going if they keep
Oh,
smashing it how they are, and they're only getting more fans. And it's so cool, I think, the fact that they're doing it on Malevolted as well, like their own thing. They've kind of gone against the norm and done. I like how they've done that. I think that's really cool that they've stuck to it.
Yeah,
oh yeah.
no, absolutely.
Yeah, like I
Absolutely.
think turning point for me was when I heard him play Malevolent Keys. I remember I just was sat there. I was there because we went on. We
Yeah,
went
it's a
to like
staple now in most clubs.
yeah,
No way.
like most like metal like clubs and stuff like that. They'll play Malev, and I'm like,
Mhm.
I remember sitting there and I was like the old bloke going, I listened to these before they were cool, mate. Like, you know what I mean? I've seen them play to 20 people.
I had that first demo on the fucking knockoff CD or something, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, mate, instantly turned into that old guy, just like at the back going, mate, back in my day, you should have seen him.
I honestly feel like I'm becoming one of them boomers a lot now. I feel like I see it and I'll be speaking to someone about, oh, have you heard this band? And it's kind of like the person that I used to hate and I still don't, but I'm like, oh yeah, like, oh, they've released this new great album. I'm like, yeah, have you heard old stuff? And then as soon as I say it, I'm like, fuck. I'm like, all right, like thinking of it, but it's kind of you got to bear in mind that there's obviously bands you've probably seen for 10 years before, so it's so cool that people are saying like seeing the new side of them in the game and popularity. But I think it's also good that you do know that old stuff and you remember that vibe as well.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
because they've got it to a T. They played Outbreak and everyone's moshing, losing the shit. They played Download and Slam Dunk, and you've got thousands of people just doing the big, huge circle pit. It's like not many bands can do that, can they? You can't really get many bands that can do each sub like section of it, if you want to call it that.
Yeah,
They've
no,
just got they've
the
got them in the
Golden
palm of their hand.
Boys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely are. So yeah, we are coming to the end of the interview now. So one way that we always like to leave it is, what advice would you give to, I guess, a new person that wanted to start a festival? The do's and don'ts, I suppose. One last bit of wise words from
Yeah,
the
I'd say that.
Donfest.
Nah, man, of course. Yeah, I'd say the do's. I'd say kind of be passionate about it, book what you want to, and do what you want to. I think that's don't just follow, don't just do the same thing that a lot of other people are doing. If you're wanting to do something, kind of push the boundary of it. Um, be yourself. Make sure you've got the financial aspect of it there. That's obviously a huge part. Don't go and just. I don't know. I think a lot of it is just about being humble and just being yourself and enjoying it. I know I've just repeated that about three fucking times, but it's kind of like I go, and as I said before, when I stopped doing it, my passion went, and when I started doing it again and I love it again, it goes 100 times better. You go to the show like it's just under 40 days away, I think now, and I'm just there and I can't fucking wait. Like every day, I'm like, it's getting close and it's getting close, and I think when you've got that passion for it and you want to do it, just fucking go for it. Do something. Be sound to all the bands. Be sound to the people who are coming. Don't be, if it starts getting a little bit good, don't just turn into an arrogant wanker. Just kind of, just keep it real. Just go about it the way of why you originally wanted to do it. And I think that's kind of the thing about it. If you wanted to do it for cool points or money and shit, go to a different scene to do that because it's not where it's at.
Absolutely. No, I respect that so much. And I think like it's a credit to Donfest and it's why, there's the quality of bands and the scene and the atmosphere there. So I think that's exactly the right reasons. And I kind of respect that you would never do it if you lost the passion for it because, but I think the festival would always suffer because of that. So
Yeah.
no, totally respect that. And yeah, thank you for coming on. I know
Thank you for
Nathan's
having
got
me.
a ticket and, if a few of our mates are going, I need to get myself a ticket and pop down because it's definitely on my bucket list. So
We'll sort
absolutely.
something, man. Well, I'll pop through in the DMs. Might even have a guest list now. We'll see.
Nah, I'll pay for my ticket.
Nah,
Sorry.
but both days I've sold out, but we'll sort something. We'll get it going, man. And as I say, thanks for having me on. It's been really cool. And I appreciate it. And you guys are smashing it as well. I'm not just saying that. I've checked out quite a few of the podcasts as well.
Oh,
So
thank you.
I'm digging it, man, and spread the word as well, bro. Absolutely.
Oh,
Oh,
means
thank
a
you,
lot, man. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's been great having you on, man. I was
It's
looking
been great,
forward to this.
honestly.
I managed to cop one a ticket for this year, like
Hmm.
last minute. I was there like, fuck it. As soon as I saw you putting the post up saying, no, they're coming off sale at this time, I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm going to transfer some of my savings and buy it. Because I was just there like, it always on the list. And I was there like, always would forget, and then like, no, now I need to get them. So yeah, I'm coming this year.
Man, honestly, you're there. Just come say say hello. There might be times I look pretty busy, but I'm just like I'll be there. I'll be sociable with everyone. I'll be enjoying the bands and stuff. As I say, like I'm kind of just. I think it's the best way to do it. I want people to know that. I think like I don't want people to think it's this scary promoter guy or whatever, or they might have seen me in pit for 2 minutes and think, fucking hell, leave it. Like it can be like someone said to me the other day, like, oh. My first impression of you was intimidating. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I got to know you. He was like the furthest from it, and I was like, okay, I don't know what to say to it, but I mean, you say first impression? No, it's right, is it? But
No, yeah, exactly. And yeah, if you're listening now, make sure you get yourself a ticket and don't just give an excuse that your dog left the oven on and burnt your ticket and you need a guest list ticket. Just buy a fucking ticket like everybody else.
exactly, man.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, thank you so much, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on again. Big love, boys.
Yeah.
No, it's that.